Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to call the Public Works Committee to order. Apologies for any potential technical difficulties here, but we are doing this hybrid mode. As you can see, we continue to meet via Zoom, but please know there are several ways to participate and stay engaged. If you're joining us via Zoom and would like to provide public comment, please do let us know by using the raise and lowered hand feature, and we'll call and provide public comment. If you're participating by phone, you can raise and lower your hand by pressing *9 and *6 to mute and unmute yourself. And you can always leave a voice message for the entire City Council by calling 406-552-6012. And you can email City Council at council@ci.missoula.mt.us. And the meetings are being recorded and can be accessed via YouTube and MCAT. So our next order of business is a roll for attendance, please, Ashley.
Anderson. Becerra.
Present.
Contos.
He's going to be absent today.
Harp.
Present.
Hess.
Present.
Jones.
Present.
Merritt.
Present.
Ramos.
Present.
Cheryl.
Present.
Vasika.
Present.
Von Lossberg.
Present.
West.
Present.
Hey y'all, I'm here. It's Stacey Anderson.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ashley. Next, we have minutes to approve. These are minutes from July 21st. Any changes to the minutes? Okay, seeing none, those will stand approved. Any public comment on items not on the agenda? We don't have any public attending right now. So with that, we'll move to our first item on the agenda, and that is a contract for janitorial services, and Matt Lawson is here to present.
Good morning. Matt Lawson, City Missoula Facilities Department.
Not sure it is.
Matt, hold on just a sec. Can you all hear Matt?
We
No.
can't hear Matt at all.
Is
Try
that
it
better?
now. Yeah.
Now you got me?
We
Okay,
heard him introduce himself, but
great. Move the city council to authorize the mayor to contract with Opportunity Resources Incorporated of Missoula, Montana, to provide janitorial service to facilities listed in the attached contracts. This is a 3-year extension for the city shops, buildings and city street department to bring this contract in line with our current 5-year contract for City Hall, city council chambers, basically the downtown campus. They will all expire then at the same time and can be rolled into one inclusive contract.
Thank you, Matt. Are there any questions for Matt? Julie, go ahead.
Sorry, I don't have any questions. I was just going to make the recommended motion.
That sounds good. So we have a motion on the floor. Any council questions? Okay, any public comments? No one in attendance. So with that, we'll take a roll call vote, please, Ashley.
Anderson,
yes.
Becerra,
Yes.
Harp,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Merritt,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Vasika,
Yes.
Von Lossberg,
Yes.
West.
Yes.
That is 11 yeses and 0 nos.
Thank you, Ashley. So that will go on our consent agenda. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Okay, next we have a noise ordinance variance for the Reed condominium project. Troy, you're up.
Thank you, council members. Troy Monroe, city engineer for development review. As mentioned, we have relief from the noise level variance for the Reed condominium project, which is located on the 200 block of 4th Street. The ordinance is Title 9, Chapter 30, and we are asking for relief from the maximum permissible noise level, which for a construction site is overnight is down to 60 decibel readings. We normally do most of these administratively. We've monitored these construction concrete pours at night, and when you get about a half block away, we're down into the normal decibel readings. The Reed projects, they do have residences within that half block, so that's why we're coming to council, is to ask for a variance to that permissible noise level. Dick Anderson Construction, we try to get them on here, and if anyone has the ability to look to see if in the audience is Jamie Mitchell with Dick Anderson Construction, I can have her raise her hand and speak. Otherwise, I have an email from them and fill you in on what they're planning to do. Okay, so if we don't see her, they're planning to have 4 nights worth of concrete pours over the next 3 months. This is necessary to get concrete placed with the heat of the day to get it cured in the proper time frame. So starting September 23rd, they would have overnight pours, September 23rd, September 30th, and that's for the parking garage. And then in October, they need to pour the first floor slab. That would be the 21st of October and November 11th. So they're asking for relief for those 4 nights, weather dependent. Those could shift around some, but that's what we're coming to you today. Any questions?
Thank you, Troy. Gwen and then Amber.
Thanks. Thanks, Troy, for presenting on this. I did have a few questions. This is just a big project going in immediately adjacent to where people are living. So more communication is always better. First of all, you've got 4 dates listed for concrete pours. Are those subject to change with possible weather? Like if we ever get rain? So are those tentative or what would you say?
Yes, those are tentative. It looks like Jamie is
Hey,
also
sorry,
shown, but we'll let her speak.
sorry, just got your email on that invite so I could finally actually join in. Hey everyone, I'm not Troy Monroe. I'm Jamie Mitchell with Dick Anderson Construction. I'm the project manager for Dick Anderson Construction on the Reed Condos project. So sorry, I kind of came in the middle of that. Would you mind repeating your question?
Great. Madam Chair, if I can just kind of have a few
Go
questions here.
ahead. Yep.
Thanks. So first of all, thanks for coming because I know that you are kind of the key contact point for this project between adjacent neighbors. So I appreciate that you're able to show up. And yeah, I did want to reiterate that your name is not Troy Monroe, but it's Jamie Mitchell, I believe.
Correct.
Okay, so my first question was just Troy listed 4 dates that are scheduled for the overnight concrete pours, September 23rd and 30th, October 21st, and November 11th. And my first question was just, I'm assuming that these are tentative. They're scheduled, but tentative, subject to weather changes. And I just, if you could flesh out a little bit, what would trigger a change and how soon you would be calling a change and notifying everyone, just so that people will understand what the program is.
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, we since we sent those dates, they have pushed a few weeks. Those were a little bit early. So kind of just want to go over when they really will most likely fall. So the first placement will be early October. Not a locked in date, just kind of early October. Second one should be mid-October. The third one will be early November, and the last one will be early December. So those are kind of the rough timeframes. The dates, like you said, those are, it's going to be on or around. We've pushed them a couple weeks to these early October. So it'll be like on or around October 7th, on or around October 14th, on or around November 4th, and on or around December 2nd. So those are all kind of rough dates. Like you said, weather, any construction delays, unforeseen delays, anything can kind of impact these dates. And what we'll do there is that's why I kind of like to give a range more, like early October, mid-October. And that's kind of what we'll notify, what I plan to notify the neighbors with, a range, an early October placement. And then as it gets closer and we lock into that placement date, we will notify everyone of the placement date, or evening, I guess I should say, and notify them all in as much advance as we can give them of the exact date we'll be placing. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thanks. That helps a lot. Madam Chair, I've got several more questions. That's okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So regarding the notification, can you just tell me emails, mailing, knocking on doors, like how are you going to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, I just want to let you guys know time frame. I believe that might have been in the email, but we plan to start placing around 9 p.m. And the goal typically would be to be done with the placement with the concrete trucks and pump truck between somewhere around 5 a.m., 6 a.m. before the plant would need to open up the rest of the day to other customers. So kind of as some background, one of the goals, and maybe Troy passed on this letter from DCI engineers, is to place during the night when temperatures are cooler for the purposes of concrete and the workability. And then 2, it's to get dedicated the concrete plant and pump trucks and everything dedicated to such a large placement. So these 4 placements are our biggest placements on our large decks. We won't be placing any footings, columns, walls. It's just the huge, large deck placements. And we need to be able to dedicate the concrete plant and pump trucks to the job. And it's really hard to do that during the day when they have other customers they need to support. So that's kind of a little background just to help you guys out. In terms of notifications, we have collected, to our knowledge, Brad, my superintendent, I think you met him, Gwen, possibly, and Houston, our project engineer, have been super diligent collecting all the property owners, and they've, with Troy's help, collected this as well. Property owners, tenants, property management companies for the property managers, owners, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We have a pretty extensive list in businesses that we will email, notify, and as much advance as possible, we'll try and give them at least, I would hope, 48 to 72 hours notice ahead of a placement, potentially up to 7 days, depending on weather and if we're able to lock in that placement. So we'll give them as much notice as feasibly possible on the night the placement will be.
Great, thanks. I appreciate that, and appreciate the hours. That was going to be another question. So now I know. and the fact that you're scheduling this out as best as you can, but it is subject to change based on a lot of different moving targets and factors. The last just kind of question comment I have is I think emails sufficiently ahead of time is great. I would request, and I don't know how you can work this, but honestly, like a couple of sandwich boards with really bright fluorescent paper just out there, kind of like at the alley entrance and maybe at the corner of Gerald and Fourth, just a visual, because sometimes, people just get too many emails and don't get to them. And this is noise that's going to run from 9 at night until 5 in the morning. I don't know how else to mitigate it. I don't have any other ideas on how to make it better. It's a tough one, and that's 4 nights, but it's construction is what it is. So anyway, any other, I would recommend just some kind of a visual notice to the neighborhood. I really think it helps get it on people's radars so that there's hopefully less issues when it happens. But thanks, I appreciate it.
And absolutely, we can definitely look at doing some sort of visual explaining, the night placement. When we send out the email, we can set up some signage at the same time, maybe just along our fence at the alleys, at our fence right at each alley. And as we run into some of the neighbors, we always try and talk to them when we see them. So we'll try and talk to them in person if we're able to as well.
Great, I appreciate it. Yeah, I think some kind of a visual poster or something. Everybody else uses the telephone poles. Might as well use them this time too.
Yeah, we definitely look at doing something. Not a problem.
Appreciate it.
Great question. Amber and then Julie.
Yeah, thanks. And I think Gwen asked most of my questions, but did I miss how many neighbors? I heard the area that it encompassed, but how many actual homes does that include that will be notified?
Maybe 35 people amongst 8 to 10 houses roughly along the alley. We could pull up Google Maps to show you the area if you'd like. I could share my screen.
I don't think we have enough time scheduled for that
Okay.
right now, but maybe if you can email us that information, that would be great.
Yeah, I can email you a Google Maps. I can send it to Troy to pass on of the job site location in relation to the neighborhood. Not a problem.
Great. Amber, any other questions? Okay. Julie, go ahead.
I just want to say thank you very much for your diligence on reaching out to the neighbors. There was a construction project in my ward that was not compliant with the noise ordinance, and it caused a great deal of consternation with the neighbors and just ongoing problems of the contractor not communicating with the neighbors. So I think it's really important. I think you guys are setting a great example in the level of outreach that you're talking about doing with the neighbors. And I hope that you can keep that up I know that overnight concrete pour is probably something that's not very pleasant to be next to, but knowing it in advance will make it a lot easier for those neighbors to deal with it. So thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
Trying to
need-
do what we can to be good neighbors.
Thank you. Do you need a motion, Mirta?
I do.
Okay, I'll make the recommended motion.
Thank you, Julie. Here we have a motion on the floor. I don't see participants in the public to provide comment on this item, so let's go ahead and take a roll call vote, please, Ashley.
Anderson,
Yes.
Becerra,
Yes.
Harp.
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Merritt,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Vasika,
Yes.
Von Mossberg,
Yes.
West.
Yes.
That's 11 yeses and 0 nos.
Great, thank you. So that will be on our consent agenda. Troy, thank you. And Jenny, thank you so much for all your answers.
Yeah, thanks. Troy, did we also need to address the early start as well during concrete, the daily early start, or was that separate? Sorry. I wasn't sure on that one.
So Troy Monroe, city engineer. So what is being allowed is a variance from the noise ordinance any time of day for those dates that you will be conducted. There is no regulation on when you can start or stop on private property. The only rules we have for the 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. occur in the public right of way. So if you do start work outside of the normal 7, if you do any work at any time that exceeds the other noise ordinance levels, you would need to come back to council. So just be aware of that, and those levels do change from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. are the loudest times. 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. it shrinks by 5 decibels, and then again another 5 from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Okay, we will look at that in terms of the early start. Our concrete who would like to start prior to 7 a.m., especially in the heat of the summer here when they get started. So we'll look at that, what the noise is, and let you know if we need additional approval on that separately.
Sounds good. Thank you both. Next on our agenda are 2 professional services agreements with IMEG, and Logan McInnes is here to present. Go ahead, Logan.
Hi, thank you. I'm Logan McInnes, Deputy Director of Public Works for Utilities. So the first project I'm going to talk about is the Lower Rattlesnake pressure reducing valve installation. And so, requesting approval to enter into a professional services agreement with IMEG for that. Are there questions about what that project entails?
Don't see any hands up.
Okay.
We do need do you want to do, yeah, let's do separate motion just to make it cleaner. We do need a motion. Julie, up. Brian.
I got confused between raising my hand virtually or in real life. I'd be happy to make the recommended motion.
Okay, I can't tell who raised the hand first, but I think it was Brian. So we have a motion on the floor. No public to provide comments, so let's go ahead and take a roll call vote, please.
Anderson,
Yes.
Becerra,
Yes.
Harp.
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Merritt,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Vasika,
Yes.
Von Mossberg,
Yes.
West.
Yes.
That's 11 yeses and 0 nos.
Thank you. So that will be on our consent agenda, and we have another professional service agreement for North Second and Cottonwood.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but it's actually South Second and Cottonwood, and you have a map that shows the thick lines of the 1,700 feet of main that we're proposing to replace, but they're all south of the river. Any other questions about that project?
Brian, go ahead.
No question. I'm happy to make that motion as well.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, no public to provide public comment. Any other questions from council members? Seeing none, let's take a roll call vote on that one too, please.
Anderson,
Yes.
Becerra,
Yes.
Harp.
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Merritt,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Vasika,
Yes.
Von Mossberg,
Yes.
West.
Yes.
That is 11 yeses and 0 nos.
Great, so that passes and it too will be on our consent agenda. Thank you, Logan.
Thank you.
And with that, we don't have any other items, so we will be adjourned. Thank you, everyone.